Good morning, my fellow adventurers. Welcome back to day 3 here on Archer's Fork. Beautiful morning. We got up about 6:30, a little bit later than yesterday, but that's fine. We're up a little bit later. Had an incident where we were actually hanging our bear bag just over here a little ways, about 50 feet. And the trail is over this way, and had just started getting dark. It was 9:15 or so. I wasn't going to mention it last night because they were still here, but we had a couple come through from this direction. They came from the trailhead, which is out this way about 2.5 miles. But they asked us, are you familiar with this area? I said, well, we came from that direction the way you're going. They were like, well, where's the next campsite? And I was like, well, I told them 2.5, 3 miles. I got to thinking about it last night. It's probably closer to 4. And like I said, it was 9:15, it was dark. They didn't have headlamps, they had flashlights. And as you could remember from the video yesterday, that direction there were a lot of rocks, and I got to thinking, I was like, well, I really don't want them going through there with no lights and stuff. So I offered them to come down and share the site. They had some hammocks. They come over here and camped out and made them a little fire ring and built a little small fire. So it worked out just fine. I just figured, when you're on trail, try to be as friendly as possible. And they were just a young couple, had backpacks, look kind of like we did maybe a couple of years ago or a year ago, where we had a little bit more of equipment and a little bit more novice. So I thought, reach out a helping hand, have them come on over here and stay. They bounced out about 15 minutes ago. We are probably 10 minutes from trail now because we've already tore down the tent and ate our breakfast, got everything pretty much packed up. I literally got to just put my shoes on and finish. I've got like 3 things to go in the pack, and then we're out of here. So like I said, just always, when people come in and they're looking for a helping hand, share this site. This area was plenty big enough for the 4 of us. Like I said, they were 50 feet over that direction. Didn't even bother us. The only thing, we heard them when they were first setting up, and after that, the only thing we heard was their fire, which I can sleep really good to a fire, so no big deal. We're going to try to beat the heat today, get as many miles in this morning, because it's really comfortable right now. Brought up the weather band, and I actually do have a little bit of signal. I got AccuWeather up. In this area right now, it's actually in the mid 60s, so it's perfect hiking weather. We're going to try to roll at least a good 5-6 miles by 10 o'clock or so. But we're going to get finished, packed up. I'm getting my shoes on, get them tied up, and we'll get going, guys. We're heading out now. It's about 10 to 8, so not a bad time to get started on the trail. We kind of wanted to be out by 7:30, but didn't quite make that little cutoff there. But we're heading up the trail now. That's a nice little site that we stayed at. Actually, kind of enjoyed being there. The tent was on a slant, so we did kind of scoot around a little bit inside the tent as we camped, or as we slept, but slept better than last night, the night before. So that's cool. And this is what the trail looks like this morning, guys. Sun just now kind of coming up really good. Nice cool air. We're about 65 still. Get the legs burning and working a little bit. It's like an ATV trail. Now we're going across it.
Ooh.
What?
Want to see the gigantic spider web in my face?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I'm gonna have to kind of take that down.
Yeah.
Still think I got
Sure, we'll face plenty of those throughout the day.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly from the map, we're going to go down a little bit, and then we'll have another steeper incline. And then we'll be up on a ridge heading towards the northern trailhead there. Which, of course, we're just going to walk right past and keep going on the trail.
think at some point we should try and come back to see the cemetery, because I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll come back and do Archer's Fork. We may not do that other section though.
That's a horrible piece of trail.
Kind of flat right through here. Spiderweb, spiderweb. It's like Spider-Man got you.
Clean myself off real quick.
Yeah, really. So guys, we've come down the trail. We're about a little over half mile from where we were when we camped. And we come across one of the first really big sites that you can see here on Archer's Fork. This is Natural Bridge. We're actually under it right now. It's really neat. We'll get a good view of it as we head back up out of here. What it looks like on the outside, but this is under it. A little bit of graffiti, but not too bad. It's kind of neat under here. It's a real nice little rock formation. And like I said, one of the bigger sites you see here at Archer's Fork. I'll turn up my light a little bit so you can really get a good view. Kind of cool. This is the outside. That's kind of where we went in at. And this is Natural Bridge. It's kind of neat. Comes down into this valley. Way down in there. And we've got this nice little incline to get back up to the actual main trail. And that's Natural Bridge from the other side as we head up back towards the main trail. It's kind of neat looking. Kind of a cool little sight finally on the trail, other than some rock outcroppings. And definitely high up. The woods are starting to come to life. Lots of birds. Plenty of sunshine, guys. Which we may not want later on.
Very true.
Kind of like something from Lord of the Rings, yo. We're about 2.6, 2.7 miles for the day so far. Did that in roughly an hour and a half. Actually about an hour and 25 minutes. So pretty good pace there that we're keeping. But we have stopped because we were pretty much out of water. Alex had about a quarter liter of water and I was out. We hit a pretty big incline up this direction, and that was actually there at the trailhead. And in doing so, I got really hot, got a little winded, so I did finish off my water with some electrolytes. I was okay to get to here, and I'm very glad because we do have an incline. Looks like we're probably gonna be going up this ridge over here in a little while. But we did come down to here, and definitely a nice little spot to go ahead and filter some water. Definitely deep enough water. It's kind of clear. In fact, there's actually minnows. I actually saw a fish about that big. Let's see if I can see it. Yeah, about like this. Nothing major, but kind of a neat little area. Not quite as pretty as what we filtered at yesterday, but hey, it's doing the trick. Now, I will go ahead and tell you, so far, the water we filtered, the first day we were here, we filtered water out of a creek and the water tasted pretty good. Since then, the water has had an off taste. I don't know what that is. Of course, I think it came from the creek yesterday. It's just in our bottles now because this water seems to be cleaner, but there was a little bit of an off taste, so I'm not sure if that's just something in the water around here or whatnot. We haven't gotten sick, nothing like that, so I'm not really stressed about that. It's just it does have a little bit of a funky flavor. You know, just figure I'd give you a heads up. But yeah, the trail continues out that direction and probably up that ridge there. Oh, check this out.
Oh, Dad, look, I actually didn't even use some of my water. Because you have to remember, the 4 bottles, they're not a full liter.
True.
They're 30 ounces rather than 32.
But yeah, we're going to finish up filtering water. I've actually stood here and drank a liter. I'm shooting for probably about 2, maybe even 3, just to fill up on water. I can tell I have a little bit of effects of dehydration. I'm a little low on my water count. Normally in the heat, I average 6 to 8 liters per day. I only had about 4 to 5 yesterday, so that kind of put a damper on the spirits this morning. I mean, we were in good spirits and such, but I started feeling the effects of not having as much water as I needed yesterday, so it definitely showed up. But we should be good now with being able to filter this water up and drink some. Alex has filled up, and I'm going to go ahead and finish off this liter I've got sitting here at least and go ahead and filter back up. And we'll be full on water for the rest of the day, because anytime we see a creek, we're just going to go ahead and whatever we're low on, we're going to go ahead and refill, because it's supposed to get really hot the next 2 days, and we don't want to run the risk of having anybody have dehydration or, you know, any type of low water situation. So looks like there's a road over here. I hear a vehicle. It's a dirt road, I can definitely tell. Yeah, older model Jeep going down through there. So we're getting ready to cross probably one of these old service forest roads. And I know when we were coming down the ridge, there was a rig over here, one of those gas rigs. But it was over here because we heard it running. And maybe somebody's going over to that, so. But it looks like Alex is about done filtering. I'm gonna finish up my half liter I've got sitting here. That'll give me 2 liters just sitting here that I've drank. And then I'm gonna go ahead and refilter, get that full, and we'll get back on trail. And we'll let you know what we see as we go, guys. It's definitely been a fun trip so far. Very tiring trip, very hot trip, but it's been worth it. You know, once we get this done, it will definitely feel like an accomplishment. Yeah.
It's like a nutcracker. You got a tear, and as if it would have a crown.
We're about, what I say, 4.6, 4.7 miles?
4.6, yeah.
About 4.6 miles for the day. We've come down a night. Well, actually, we had a big incline and a decent decline. We're down in a valley. This is actually a kind of a dried up creek bed that we're sitting in. We are kind of having lunch right here. There is a little pond right here. The water's kind of clear. It looks like it feeds over in here from underground. So it should be kind of clean enough for us to filter water at least. We're just kind of going to re-up our water. I'm probably going to drink a liter while I'm sitting here. So basically we'll get about 1.5 liters for me. Alex will probably end up with about 1 liter. So about 2.5 liters filtered here. And then we're going to start out this direction, which this direction is going to be a beast. It is a pretty massive incline. It's one of the 2 biggest ones here at Archer's Fork. So we're going to go kind of knock that out and then go from there on where we want to camp and how we're feeling. So we're hoping to knock out both of the inclines today. And then come tomorrow, you know, we should just have the North Country Trail to deal with. We'll see. It's already getting very hot. It's actually not really hot. It's about 80 degrees, but it's starting to get very humid. So that's not making things very easy for us right now. We were both cramping when we got here. Even with the extra water that we've taken in for the day, we were both already cramping. So probably going to soak my feet down in that water for a few minutes. My feet's a little sore. I've got a nasty little spot on my right foot that just doesn't seem to want to heal. It's not a blister, but it's almost like a bruise. So I don't know if I misstepped the first day we were here and caught it on something and just bruised that foot or what, but it's pretty tender. It's actually a little swollen in that area too. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm managing the pain, but it's tender. But this is a pretty little area. We're near a road. I'm hearing cars and everything. Been hearing cars since we got down here. It's the most.
We've heard like 5 or 6 already.
Yeah, it's the most active car traffic sounds that we've heard since we've been here. So that's interesting. But yeah, like I said, we're at like 4.6, 4.7 miles for the day. Archer's Fork itself, we're well over 8 miles on it, maybe closer to 9. And then, of course, the 8 miles for the 9 miles, whatever it was, over there on North Country. Which it is North Country because we actually intersected that particular trail right over here. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure where that leads to because I don't have a map for that. I seriously thought about just taking that back to the car, but...
North Country is actually part of the Buckeye Trail.
Yeah.
So it runs like all the way through this area quite a bit. So I think that was kind of interesting because I saw North Country and I'm like, oh, cool. And I didn't realize North Country was actually the Buckeye Trail.
Well, they coincide is what it amounts to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They coincide for a long while right through here.
Yeah.
Because literally on almost every single like trail, like map we've seen of the trails and stuff, North Country has always also been / Buckeye Trail. So,
yeah. And you do have the blue blazes plus what was it, red and yellow? Oh, the yellow diamond with the red blaze?
That is the 9 Bell Trail.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, there's a lot of trails up in here. We've sailed, what was it, Shady Ridge, out that direction off of Archer's. Yeah, that was off Archer's Fork, and then there was another one. I can't remember what that one was, but there was another one we saw. It was another ridge, High Ridge, or so I don't remember. I might be able to look it up and find it for you guys, but there are multiple trails that run through here. I don't have maps for any of those. I just have maps for Archer's Fork and what we basically are doing. So maybe eventually we can come back and check some of those other trails and see what they look like. But for now, we're going to finish this up. Alex is eating her buffalo chicken.
It actually rehydrated very well with what we were using. It's very hot. I don't have a lot of extra water to mine because Dad did make his last night and his had a lot of extra water that he'll have to carry out, which kind of sucks, but
it is what it is. But yeah, so she got her proportions right with the water and the food. Mine was a little watery. And yeah, I'm carrying that extra, 3-4 ounces of water because it's got food in it. I didn't want to dump it at a campsite or something like that and have a bear come in smelling it. That wouldn't have been good. But we're gonna go ahead and eat lunch and get back on the trail and hoof it over here to our next campsite. This may be a short day because I mean it's coming up on noon. The heat and humidity is already rolling in. We got started a little bit later than we wanted. If we get 6 miles in, I see a hummingbird.
What?
There's a hummingbird right there.
Oh my god, I've never seen a hummingbird before. That was so cool.
Yep. I don't think I got it on camera. It's right there, but it's the GoPro. So what say you? We about ready to do this?
About as ready as I'll ever be.
We've got this pretty big incline. We kind of calculated it out at about, what'd I say, 350?
370.
370, yeah, because this is the bigger of the three. So yeah, this is gonna be like a 370 foot incline up there, but I figure I'd get some of the footage of this really pretty forest. A lot of deciduous, but there is plenty of evergreen in here, guys. It's a pretty area, it really is. Kind of wish there was a campsite right here too. It's kind of overgrown though, you wouldn't be really able to get one in here, but that's okay. Nice day. It clouded up for a minute. We thought it may come a little shower, but it didn't, and it's cleared back off, sunny. We're expecting the heat to start rolling in shortly. It's 1 o'clock, well, 10 to 1. So the heat starts rolling in and starts beating down on us. We'll see how the day goes. We did eat, and I drank a liter of water. You probably drank almost a liter, didn't you?
I got about a half down, a little
Half?
over half.
Okay. So yeah, we're pretty good for water. I've had about 3.5, 4, and you've had what, about 3 today?
Yeah, 3.
So we're okay on water. It's like I told you, we saw a hummingbird out through here, but it got away before I could get this camera on it where I could get a better shot than the GoPro. But
Yeah, he literally like started filming over that direction. It sniffed one flower and left.
yeah,
Kind of sucks.
yeah, it would have been kind of neat to get that on film because Jenny's nickname is Hummingbird, and I was really hoping to catch that for her. So, oh well, maybe sometime later in the future. So guys, we came up the incline over there, kind of powered through it, stopped a couple of times, but we got up it for the most part without much complication. After eating lunch, I did go ahead and take a couple ibuprofen. Alex took an naproxen. It definitely has made a difference. I'm a little bit more spry in my feet and my calves. And this ridge has been, for the most part, flat, a little bit up and down, as you see. Kind of got an up right there. That's the most we've actually seen on this ridge. It's been pretty flat most of the way. And just a pretty area up ridge walking. We did look at the temperature because I have a little bit of signal here. It is about 85. The real feel is 92. Just after 1 o'clock. So yeah, it's starting to really warm up. We're kind of debating where we're going to camp. We were hoping to knock out all of our inclinations on Archer's Fork, but I think from my research, the last inclination that we have, if we go up that, there's nowhere to camp up there before the North Country Trail. And like I said, there's like 3 miles before we find a campsite there. So we may be choosing to go ahead and camp at one of the creeks here on Archer's Fork, one of the last ones we'll pass, and just camp beside it. Probably won't have cell signal or anything like that, but that'll be okay. We've kind of gotten used to that here on this trail. But like camp there and then just have that big ascent first thing in the morning, knock it out, and then have about 7.5, 8 miles to get to the car. We'll see if we can do it. The heat is supposed to be even worse tomorrow than today, so we'll see. But we're going to knock out this inclination and start probably heading towards our first big declination down to a creek. There'll be a smaller inclination and then a declination, and that's probably about where we're going to camp for the night, I believe, at that second creek that we're getting ready to come up on. Probably put us stopping probably about 3 o'clock, which is a little early, but with the heat rolling in and knowing the next campsite's about 6 miles, I kind of, well, maybe not 6, like 5. I'd kind of rather go ahead and stop and not push another 5 miles in the heat. So guys, we came down one of the last descents that we have. We actually will ascend over here and go down tomorrow, and then back up, and we'll be done pretty much with Archer's Fork and be heading out. But we knew there was a campsite at this one as far as this descent next to this creek that we're at here. And I don't believe there's a campsite at the next creek, so we decided to go ahead and camp here for the day. The heat is starting to come in pretty good. We got here roughly 4 o'clock, and yeah, it's pretty really muggy. It's just gotten really hot. It's about 4:30 now. I've got the tent set up. My air mattress and stuff's blown up. Got everything in there as far as sleep system. Alex is finishing hers up, and we're just gonna kind of just relax tonight. We didn't do as many miles as we wanted today. What I say, 7.8? Yeah, like 7.8 miles. We were wanting to push 10 today. The heat beat us. We just wasn't able to get in. And plus, like I said, we got to looking at the maps, because I have like multiple maps and stuff showing where campsites are at, where water's at here on Archer's Fork, and some of the other areas that we've been in. And this would be the last one for roughly 5 miles. And I told Alex, I said, with the heat coming in, there's no way we're going to be able to do an additional 5 miles. Yeah, looking at it, this is where we're kind of camped up today, kind of beside this almost dried out creek. But we do have plenty of pools, and it is running a little bit, so it's not like it's stagnant water. That'll be awesome. Should taste okay. We came from up there, way up the ridge, but that's the trail right there. We come down, we started seeing this site, and I told Alex, I said, that's the one we're going to hit. So, and it's a pretty nice site, pretty flat. You've got a couple areas where you can get some trees, where you can get some tents. Got our tent there. Really, I mean, I guess you could put a hammock up in here on this little thing here if you wanted to. I wouldn't do it. Not really much else as far as hammocks I would venture.
I definitely think it's funny that out of the 3 nights we've already been sleeping here or are about to sleep, we literally have only found one site that was flat.
Yeah.
Like, we've obviously seen several campsites that have been flat, but all of the ones that we've had the option of staying at haven't been. We've always been on some sort of slant that causes us to slide. So I think we should get a decent night's rest being on flat.
Yeah, this is the first night we're sleeping flat. The ground's pretty hard, but it's flat, and the ground's hard everywhere right now just because of no rain. Yeah, we have seen multiple sites that would have been conducive for tents, flat camp, flat lay and everything. The only problem is it just didn't match up with our itinerary. I mean, we could have cut the day short or whatever, but we really didn't want to do that. We've seen a few people when we were eating lunch. There was a series of cyclists come through. What, 6? Oh, there was 8 of them. 8. Alex actually counted, so there was 8 of them. And we did actually see the day hikers that we passed early in the morning. They came through about the same time when we were eating lunch as well. Other than that, we haven't really seen anybody. It's about 6:30. We've got all the camp chores done, other than maybe finding wood if we decide to do that, and we do have to get the bear bag up. But not really stressing that right this second. We went down and filtered 4 liters of water. We both actually already ate a dinner. Well, Alex ate half of hers. I ate a full dinner at about 4. Well, it was about 5 actually. And I ate a full dinner. Alex has ate half of one of hers. I'm gonna go ahead and fix tacos again a little bit later, probably here in about an hour and a half, about 8 o'clock. Just to get some extra calories, because we know we're doing this big push to get out of here tomorrow. And when we were filtering water too, we did go ahead and stop off. We had a really good dry, clean towel that we'd been carrying for the whole time. We rinsed off in the water, just washed a little bit of the grime off and got a little bit clean as you can without soap. And that definitely is that's helped. That's actually lifted our spirits a little bit, kind of made us feel a little bit better. I'm not quite as sore and stiff as I have been, so I'm feeling pretty decent. figure by the time we relax the rest of the night, get to bed early, get up tomorrow, we should be able to make that push and get out of here tomorrow night. Well, tomorrow afternoon, hopefully even. And we did kind of look at the map and make sure it is roughly 10 miles. So.
Sorry, I just cleaned my glasses for the first time today, and I finally got a good, clear look at what our campsite looks like. It's actually really beautiful around here.
Yeah, it's pretty. This is
Archer's Fork has been phenomenal.
Yeah, there's been some pretty area. It's been rough trail, but it's pretty area.
I'd say it's worth it. I mean, for the most part, yeah, it kind of.
It's worth it if you don't do the extra section that we've done.
Do not do the North Country Trail. It's rough.
Yeah, and it's not pretty. But
you literally don't see anything more than like 2 or 3 outcroppings, rock croppings.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and it's kind of interesting. We were sitting here about, I don't know, maybe an hour, 45 minutes ago, give or take, and we looked up because the Archer's Fork actually comes from over here and goes this direction. That's the way we're going out. But we looked over there, and the people who actually camped at our campsite last night, that we allowed them to come on in, they come through, and they stopped here, and were talking to us. The gentleman, it's his second backpacking trip, and the girl that was with him, she has never been backpacking, and you could tell. He had rolled his ankle, was using a stick to try to get around. I felt bad for him, but I offered what little bit of help we could do. They had no water when they got here, no filter. She was even talking about just trying to find a place where there was a little bit of running water and using a bandana, which, one, we've not seen anywhere that has running water, and two, that's a no-no regardless, because you're still going to catch those microorganisms and stuff. You may get some of the sediment out, but that's not going to do you any good. Alex and I both looked at each other and after they walked away, and we were like, oh, so you're going to get diarrhea, dysentery, something like that. But anyway, they asked if they could have a little bit of water. We went ahead and gave them 2 liters of water. We have the filter. We're right here at water. I wasn't really stressing it. We're good to go. And I just wanted to make sure they were able to get, because they're trying to get to the trailhead, and they've got 4.5, 5 miles to go at least, possibly a little bit more. And there are 2 substantial inclines from here. And I just felt kind of bad for them, because they really didn't know what they were doing. And, I offered a little bit of help for them, what I could do. I told them, next time when they go out, to make sure that, one, they have a decent first aid kit, especially if they twist an ankle, where nothing else, you have a little bit of pain reliever. Or 2, get you a filter. I suggested the Sawyer micro Sawyer squeeze. I suggested the Catadine. And, they took it all into consideration. They're from Columbus. I also suggested easier trails than Archer's Fork to start out with. I suggested possibly doing Site 1 at Zaleski, which is not really that bad. The other 2 sites are a little bit more difficult, but I did suggest Site 1. Actually, he said that's where he had actually been, so he'd already been there. I did suggest East Fork, because East Fork is an easier trail, and it's very beautiful. It's really enjoyable. And I was telling them, just do some research. I gave them 2 or 3 of the websites that we look at. Told them to get all trails, because they said that they were back over this way somewhere and got off trail and got on a different trail and had to backtrack. I'm like, I told them, I said, do you have a map? They're like, no. And I don't have a printed map this time because my printer's out. So I wasn't able to go ahead and give them a printed map because, we're good. We know how to get out of here. Literally, we got 2 miles, and then we're doing trails we've already done. If something would happen to my phone, because I've been using all trails and a couple of other trails I downloaded on the phone. And, I suggest to them to make sure that they always have a printed map and a compass. And I also suggested, hey, check out all trails. It's not really that expensive. Check out View Ranger, which is another one that I have used in the past. It's not bad. It's even cheaper. But, I kind of worried about them because we were watching him as they went up, because the trail goes right here and goes on up this direction, straight up through there, and then it does switch back up this way. And we were kind of watching them as they were going, and she was struggling. She actually stopped right here, took off her pack. You could tell she was sore because she was doing this with her shoulders and stuff. And he was just hobbling along, he was in just a pair of regular tennis shoes. She did have a pair of boots on, but he had just regular tennis shoes. They weren't cross trainers or anything like that. And, he was just taking that stick and hobbling up through there. And I really worry about him. I hope they can get out. Of course, I did suggest that there were like 2 or 3 sites along the way. Like there's one right here at the top of the ridge. There's another one a little bit further on over if they needed to stay over. But I kind of got the feeling, well, literally they have 2 liters of water to get them out of here. And I kind of got the feeling they didn't have much food left, if any. And so they may not be able to stay over. And I really worry that they're not going to be able to get out of here before it gets dark. And with them already having an injury, it may not be a good thing. So guys, definitely when you decide to go on trail, do your research. I mean, that's one of the things I've preached in a past video. Do your research and make sure you have the correct equipment, and just watch YouTube videos, check out the forums that I've talked about. Make sure that you know kind of what you're doing when you get on trail. Otherwise you're going up like those guys. And like I said, especially her talking, I'm gonna take a bandana and just run water through it. Man, they'd get home and they'd be at the ER tomorrow. I mean, it's a real risk, and it's just not something we've ever put ourselves in contention for. I mean, if nothing else, you just know if water could be bad, you boil it. So, and I don't know if they had a cook system or anything, so I kind of worry about them, but I'm sure they'll be okay. Things will work out for them. And hopefully they'll check out some of those easier trails I talked about so they can build up to something like this, like we've done in the past. Archer's Fork, I mean, at least to this point, when we do have these 2 big inclines, I'll get a final verdict on it. But to this point, it has not been too bad. What killed us was the scenic river, or the scenic river trail actually wasn't that hard. It was boring. But that North Country trail, that trail is rough. And we know for a fact that there's an incline because we come down this incline that runs for a mile, and it's graded probably about 30%. I think I've already mentioned it, and we're not looking forward to that. But that is our last big push to get out of here, because once we're up that, it's generally going to be all downhill and flat. So I think we're going to be able to make it, especially being able to kind of relax and rest a little bit tonight, get a little bit more calories in us, a little bit more caloric intake, and being able to fill up on water throughout the night and making sure that we rest and relax really good tonight. I think that's going to make a big difference for the push tomorrow. And I will definitely be excited because, I wanted to do this in 3 nights. I wanted to push it. Now, honestly, if the first day, if we could have got here maybe an hour earlier and it hadn't been as hot and then had the threat of rain, there is a vague possibility we could have done this in 2 nights. I mean, honestly, because we've pushed it, and we're kind of getting used to that pain that you feel as you're going up some of these inclines, everything kind of pulling, everything kind of hurting. I think we could have, if we could have got more than the roughly 5 miles or so that first day, if we could have gotten maybe 8 or 9, kind of like what we've averaged the last couple of days, I think we could have pushed it and got out of here in 2 nights. Maybe.
Honestly, if we got 8 or 9 the first night, we probably would have slept closer to like a creek or something like that, or whatever, and then we would have started up just like starting the North Country Trail, which that would have been kind of like, oh, good push for the beginning of the trip, which, yeah, it would have still sucked, but it would have been the first thing we would have gotten past it pretty easily.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't have been so sore right afterwards and had to kind of call it quits after only a few miles, like we did yesterday. Because we got a couple. We got what was it, 8 or 9 yesterday, but I think we could have pushed more, like you're saying. So. Yeah. But the thing is also, I kind of look at maybe fate was intertwined there, where we were able to help this couple out, because if we had not been in that specific site last night, they wouldn't have had anywhere to stay. They'd have probably got somewhere else and maybe gotten hurt hiking in the dark. I mean, obviously he actually rolled his ankle in the daylight, so at night, who knows? He actually said he rolled it this morning. Yeah, probably going down those rocks. So he said he rolled it this morning. So going through those rocks that I was cautioning them about, he may have rolled it even then. So imagine what he could have done in the dark. And and then 2, we wouldn't have been here to give him the water and help him get that push to get out of here so they can get home too today. So maybe it was just meant to be this way, guys, and that's perfectly fine. Alex was like, "Well, that was really nice of you. You let them have water. It's so cool that you do that." I'm like, "Hey, you're on trail. You help your fellow hikers out. Your fellow adventurers. You guys, if I ever see you and you need help, guess what? I'm gonna be there." And you pay it forward, because there may be a day where I'm in a spot where maybe I'm low on water, or
it's 9 o'clock at night and I'm running out of daylight and I need to camp somewhere, I'm hoping somebody will be as nice. And it's been an eventful weekend so far. Definitely a beautiful area. The sun is starting to come down in the sky. I figure it's going to get dark pretty quick in here. Sun goes down at 9:03, and once it does, I figure we'll be dark in 15 minutes after that, because just we're going to lose it back behind this hill here. I think there's a hill over here, and all these tree covers. It's just going to get dark quick, and that's perfectly fine, because like I said, we're planning on going to bed pretty early tonight and just trying to get some rest. So unfortunately, probably no fire. We've kind of scouted around for a little bit of wood. We've got the smaller stuff and the bigger stuff. We don't have the intermediate stuff that, really would get a fire going really well. There's no decent sized sticks like right in here in this area. And I'm not going to go scouting, a quarter mile trying to find wood. I'm just not into that right now. Too tired. I've got my those little dollar flops I told you I bought last trip. I've got those on right now. And I do have a small blister trying to form on my right heel. And I'm not wanting to put my boots back on and scruff that anymore. I'm trying to let that relax and rest. I do have some molly tape. I used it today. I threw it on when we started lunch. I had kicked my shoes off and saw that blister trying to form. I put it on there, but it was just a small piece. I thought that might be enough. It worked for the most part, but as we come down this decline, I felt it slip. It's supposed to stick forever, but it slipped for whatever reason. My foot may have been a little bit damp when I put it on, I'm not sure. But I'm going to really cover it good tomorrow, like 2 or 3 strips, and just make sure that it stays in place while we get out of here. And then after that, I don't care. I can take care of it at home, no big deal. I'm not going to be walking on it quite so much over the next week. But I definitely want to make sure we can get out of here without any incidents. Alex actually has a couple of blisters on both of her big toes. So we're going to wrap those up with the molly tape too, so she can get out of here and we can get home.
They're not even really just like blisters just yet. They're more of just like forming, and I do not want to have to deal with that because I know blisters suck. And especially in the places they're forming, it would make it very hard to walk. Because even like at the house, I have home shoes, like sandals and slippers and stuff, that specifically go around my toes. So that would hurt.
There's been a number of hikers come through. Probably 4 or 5 groups. I know there's somebody camping literally right over here. Well, for reasons we could kind of smell what they were cooking, I guess you could say. Yeah, little bit of herbal remedy. So that was kind of interesting earlier. But yeah, we could actually smell that. So they're close enough that we were able to detect that. And I'm pretty sure there's somebody up here on this ridge on that campsite up there. But there's been a number of other people come through here too, so we got people all in the woods, which I kind of figured with it being Saturday night here at Archer's Fort, people like getting outside. Yeah, I figured we'd have neighbors. Well, it's about 8:30, and where we are down in this valley, it is actually starting to get dark. We've actually started kicking on a couple of lights just to be on the safe side. The sun is down behind these ridges, and definitely, of course, we've got all the cover with the trees, so it is a lot darker. The sky is still bright. If we were on a ridge, we would still be daylight till 9:30. But I figure, the sun is supposed to set at 9:03. By 9:15, we'll be pretty dark. Maybe not pitch black, but definitely on its way. So we did kind of finish up a little bit of dinner, ate some stuff, a little bit of snacking, just kind of relaxing, like I said we were going to do tonight. I've got plenty of water for the night. Probably actually got water for in the morning, no problem. Then we'll filter before we head out. But yeah, it's been a pretty awesome trip. A lot of accomplishments. Just feel like we've done something, because this has been a little bit harder trail that we've been able to do, especially this year, because we haven't really been a lot of places this year. And even last year, this is probably a ballpark of Red River Gorge. Not quite as hard. But, definitely something that we've enjoyed. Pretty scenery, at least here on Archer's Fork. Haven't videoed quite as much as I'd like to have, because we've been pushing the miles so much and the heat. And there have been a couple of instances where, I actually was considering videoing. There was one spot where I actually was videoing, and a group come through. It was like three or four girls. And I mean, they had backpacks and they were playing music. And of course, you know, with YouTube copyright, it kind of destroyed that whole video. So I couldn't really record as much as I wanted to. We could have hung around there and actually recorded, but they were taking their time, taking pictures, laughing and giggling, and it probably would have slowed us down by half an hour. So I said, no, just we'll move on. I mean, it was just some more rock croppings. I mean, you know, rock outcroppings. I mean, it was kind of neat looking, but I already had some of that video. And then, of course, we've seen a number of people today on trail. And, you know, I'm not comfortable filming around a lot of other people, so it is what it is. But, yeah, still a good trip. Today's been really nice. You know, we put in the miles that we thought we needed to put in today. And like I said, just making sure that we had a campsite pretty much here at water. I think there's a campsite right over here. But this one's right here at the water, and we definitely want to be able to fill up tomorrow because we're going to make that good push. If we happen to see another one a little bit further out, my bad. You know, we should have stayed there because we definitely had the time to push on to another campsite. But we wanted to make sure we had a place where we could camp. And I think it's kind of helped just being able to relax, let the muscles unwind. But yeah, it's definitely started getting dark here. In fact, I mean, you can see the light on. And I'm going to turn it off real quick. See how much darker it is. I mean, yeah, the sky's light, but as far as the ground, it is pretty dark. I have a light over there, so you can definitely see Alex. But if it wasn't for that, I mean, look over here to the creek. I mean, it's definitely started getting dark. We'll turn that light back on. You can see pretty good. And even brighten it up a little bit. This is a really nice light for camera work. Yeah, in fact, I mean, you know, you see how far it shines out. So this is another nice piece of equipment that I was able to get. It's camera equipment, so I don't really include it in the hiking stuff. But if you guys are ever curious about my camera equipment and what I use on trail, definitely give me a comment, a shout out, whatever, and you know, I may even do a video if there's enough interest on what I actually use as far as camera equipment on trail. It's pretty much a simple setup. I have invested a little bit extra in some what I would call peripherals, you know, to go with the two cameras I use, which basically is the GoPro and my Galaxy Note 9. Turn it back down a little bit. Oh, that turned it off. Hang on. There we go. So we'll flip it around. Like I've always said, guys, if you ever have questions about anything about what we do on trail or any of the equipment we use, including camera equipment or my video editor or anything like that, just you know, let me know in the comments. I'll definitely be able to answer those for you. I'll get back to you as fast as possible. Might be a little sporadic right now because I do intend going forward to actually try to get out hiking a little bit more before summer ends, and definitely into the fall because I like fall camping. But this has been, you know, kind of a goal to kind of do this trip, and you know, even adding the bottom loop actually made it even a little bit harder. So that's gonna be kind of neat because I think we're going to top out at right about 31 miles, and that's gonna be done in 3 nights, 4 days. That's not too bad. I mean, I know some guys that could come out here and knock this out in like a day even, so, but we're not to that point. And, you know, plus, you know, we're trying to enjoy it versus just running the trail so much. You know, we'll get to that point where we're speed walking the trail, and that'll be fine. But I'm trying to give you guys as much information on these trails as well. Like I said, I mean, literally, if those guys that come through and they were the amateur backpackers, which I mean, I'm an amateur backpacker, but I'm much more seasoned than they are. If they would, I mean, even just watched a couple of my videos, you know, they'd be like, okay, yeah, we know we need a filter, or, you know, we know we need this, you know, definitely use trekking poles on trail, things like that. I'm hoping to get out a little bit more tip videos shortly as well. Doing the loadout video the last time before we came out here, I thought was kind of a good idea. You know, give you guys an idea what you could take for a 4-night trip. You know, and still keep it basic and keep it light. You know, like I said, I'm base weight at about 14.5 pounds, so that worked out really well. We'll definitely be in the tent in the next hour. Maybe not quite asleep, but by 11, there's no reason we won't be passed out and asleep. We've been up since about 6:20 and done quite a bit of hiking in the heat, and we did a few things here, and it really was refreshing, kind of rinsing off. And we know we're gonna have plenty of water to start tomorrow versus like today, where we literally, we have like, I had like 12 ounces and you had a half a liter.
Yeah.
So we were busting, we were busting the trail just trying to get over to water this morning, which we did 2.5 miles in like an hour. And we were able to get on over to the water source, which was great, but it took a lot to get over there, and it was, kind of strenuous trying to do that without being able to have the water we needed to start the day, which we don't have to worry about that here. That's why I'm saying we're going to make that big push for 10 miles tomorrow.
I definitely think 10 miles would be pretty cool, because that would be coming up extremely close on my personal best, which is I think 9.6 at River Gorge last year.
No, it was 10.6. Because you were almost at 11.
10.6, yes. My bad. That was my fault.
You may not hit the personal best tomorrow, but it's going to be ballpark.
I will be coming very close, and personally to me that is good enough, because with school and situations outside in the world, I haven't been able to be hiking quite as much as I would like to, and that is something that really sucks, because I do enjoy this and it's very fun, even when I feel like passing out on trail. Not actually, but yeah.
There was one point today, like when we first were hitting the trail, it was rough. That one incline up to the trailhead, I was feeling it just because I was water deprived.
Yeah, that was one thing. Not having enough water, we've been through that a couple of times on trail where we know what that feels like. And
the bad thing is that we crossed a couple of dry creeks. That's what hurt us.
Yeah, we kept passing creeks that were like, oh my god, this might be it, and then
they were dry.
It's
just
completely.
And
dry.
we would walk 25 feet one way, 25 feet the other way, and you could still see like 100 feet in front of you. No water whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, of course, you can expect that this time of year to an extent, but, like 2 or 3 in a row, we weren't happy about. But, we finally found water. We were good to go, and, we've gotten over here, so we should be all right. I think we'll be able to knock it out tomorrow, and we know where water is going this way now.
Yeah.
Because once we start back down the North Country Trail, we've done that, so that won't be a problem. And we could filter if we really need to, and then we'll just get out of here, man.
Yeah.
Get the heck out. Head home and see the family. Get me a Diet Coke, maybe a pizza.
Honestly, that sounds pretty
or
good.
Gatorade and pizza, either way.
I would go for a Gatorade just because I actually personally do like Gatorade and like electrolyte type drinks, because I feel better after drinking them, especially after being on trail where I need to replenish that type of stuff. Lovely little fly. But definitely pizza, or like I said earlier, a good hamburger or something.
Pizza or burgers, yeah, maybe some double cheeseburgers from McDonald's or Wendy's, or we'll figure it out. If we get out early enough, because, lately with the situation, a lot of restaurants, a lot of businesses are closing down like 7, 8 o'clock, and with it being a Sunday, they may even close earlier, so we may not be able to find anything to eat on the road. Looking for gas and Gatorade might be all we can do, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm hoping personally we can actually be out by 5 o'clock, but that depends on heat and what's going on. So we'll push ourselves, but we're not going to push ourselves to the point that it becomes a detriment to our health. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here for right now. We're going to finish kind of gathering all of our stuff up, get our bear bag up since it's starting to get dark. We're pretty much done eating for the night. I think we'll hang out and chill out and talk for a few more minutes, probably hitting the tent here in a little bit, and then we'll head to bed, guys. We're heading to bed. Night 3 here at Archer's Fork and adjacents. Pretty tired. It's about 10 o'clock. We're going to go and head on to bed and get some rest for tomorrow. We got that big push to get out of here. Hoping we can do it. Wish us luck. If you did enjoy this video, definitely like, share, comment, and subscribe, like always. Living the Grand Adventure. All of us here can actually really use the support. It'd be awesome to hear from you on the comments. But until then, guys, always remember to live your grand adventure to the fullest. And we'll see you tomorrow on the trail. Take care and good night.